Hello everybody, here we are again. I am Chandra Kydd of Kydd Concepts, and I'm so glad to be back with you guys. I promised video 2 of our discussion about those vision boards, but today's concept is all about the plan of action. So in case you missed the first video, which was all about vision boards, I mentioned 3 key things that you wanted to include in your vision board. I talked about having that desire, making that definite decision, and having that discipline to follow all the things that you need to accomplish through. Remember, vision boards are about manifesting things that we want to see come to pass. Now, before we jump into part 2 in our plan of action, I just want to share a couple of success stories. I am so excited that you guys are really getting into these vision boards. I want to share a couple of stories of success. So I do have a student, one student who put a picture of an engagement ring on her vision board. She put it on, I believe she mentioned a Friday afternoon. And that Sunday during her church service, there was a prophet that was visiting their church that Sunday. And he seemed to have, he called this gentleman up out of the blue. And apparently the guy was her boyfriend. And so he goes up and he says, hey, sir, come up to the front of the church. And he says, do you have a ring? And he says, is your girlfriend here? And immediately she says, oh my gosh, she's like, what's gonna happen, what's going on? She starts ducking behind the pews. She's kind of shy. So he's like, wherever your girlfriend is, this prophet said you need to call her up, come up here, girlfriend. So she reluctantly she goes up, and she's standing up in front of the church, and this prophet is like, hey, you need to give her this ring. And he's like, you need to take her hand, and just right in front of everybody during the morning service, he starts having them to repeat vows to one another. And he just says, okay, now go make it legal, right? So here we have this example of her putting this, engagement ring on her board. And by Sunday, she's like almost engaged, right? So I have another story that I want to share of my really good friend who I went to college with. I encouraged her to create a vision board. She had never done one before. And I also encouraged her to put something on there about her daughter, because I mentioned that, you can manifest on behalf of your children. So she put something on her board. She started it, but kind of like, put it to the side for a week or so. And then she's just called me and she says, you know what, I'm really going to finish that vision board this weekend. So I'm like, okay, sure, go ahead, go for it. I hope you finish it. Good luck. Let me know how it turns out. So she calls me that Monday morning. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, what's wrong? Because she called me during our work time, and she's a teacher too. So I'm thinking, oh my goodness, something's happened. So I'm like, is everything okay? And she's like, well, my daughter got this internship with the Atlanta Falcons. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's great. And she's like, no, that's not the awesome part. The awesome part is I put it on my vision board this weekend. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, are you serious? And she's like, yes. She's like, thank you for convincing me to not only start this vision board, but finishing it. And so I was very, very excited for her and for her daughter. And that same week, another student, I just simply asked her, I said, hey, did you ever get to take your vision board home? She was a brand new student. In her first day of class, we actually started working on those vision boards. And she really put a lot of effort into it. She had never heard of them before, but when she saw everybody else doing one, she just kind of really got into it. And so when I asked her if she had taken her board home, and because I really emphasized the importance of them sharing out loud what they had put on their board and why, but I also mentioned the importance of putting it up on the wall. She put it up that day and she says, teacher, I got a promotion at work that same day I took my vision board home. So I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited for you. And we just really had a very exciting moment. So I just want to just shout out all those who are really doing this vision board and really making it happen. So today's topic is about our plan of action, right? So I just want to share what a plan of action is, right? So bear with me because it's going to take me a few minutes, but I want you to take this journey with me because hopefully it will help some of you, especially if you're wondering why your vision board, if you've created one recently or maybe one in the past, maybe you're wondering, why isn't anything on my board coming to pass, right? So if you guys recall, I mentioned that you needed to have make a decision and you needed to have discipline. So I want to just kind of refer back to a board that I created a couple of years ago. And I want to refer to this one because there are a couple of items on my board that even though I created it some years ago, they have not come to pass. So just one in specific that I want to point out right here in the middle where it says new swimming pool, right? So I put this on my vision board because I thought to myself, I really would love to have a really beautiful swimming pool in my backyard. And it has not happened. And the reason why it has not happened is because I did not follow rule number 2, which is decision. Because sometimes I wish I really had a pool. And other times I'm like, I'm so glad I don't have a pool. Like, who's going to clean that? You know, my kids are like, Mommy, if there's bugs, I'm not going to want to swim in it, right? And I'm thinking about, oh my gosh, my light bill is going to be high. My water bill is going to be high. So one minute I really want a pool. And then the next minute, I'm just thinking about all of the expenses and all of the work that may be involved with having a pool. So to this day, I do not have a pool. So the reason why this has not manifested in my board is because I really and truly have not made the definite decision to have a swimming pool. If ever I truly came to that decision to have a pool, I'd have one. So think about your vision board and think about what elements may be contained on your board that you're really kind of swaying back and forth on. And that may be a good reason why it has manifested. A second reason why it may not have manifested is because maybe you're not disciplined, right? So I mentioned in my other video that maybe your goal is to, maybe get a high school diploma, okay? Maybe you're not being disciplined enough to get up and get to class as often as you need to so that you can really grasp the material and learn what you need to pass your tests. So this lack of discipline is holding back that manifestation of you obtaining that diploma or degree or whatever credential or certification you're seeking after, even though you put it on your board. So remember, we have to have those elements. And if you want a little bit more information, go back and watch that previous video where I dig into detail about what those things are and how we do those vision boards correctly. Now, this plan of action. So I just wanted to kind of put a little illustration here. I kind of have a couple of different ways you could do it. Okay. So I grabbed a simple piece of construction paper here. And I'm going to flip it on this side first, okay? And I divided this construction paper into 3 sections. So the first section of this is dealing with what I want. So what I did is I divided it A, B, and C. The first section deals with what I want. On this portion of your plan of action, you're going to list the things that you really want, okay? In column B, you're going to list what do I need to do? In other words, what actions do you need to take in order to make that thing you want happen? And in column C, you're going to list what or who is stopping me from making that thing happen. So for example, let's use going back to school, all right? So say what I want to do, what I want is my high school diploma, all right? What is it going to take for me to do it? Maybe you need to register, okay? Maybe you need to register for those GED classes, okay, and study, all right? Who or what is stopping you? Maybe you don't have the financial support to pay for the courses, or maybe you don't have the transportation, whatever, okay? On the opposite side, we're going to divide this into those 3 sections again, labeling them A, B, and C again, right? On this side, we're going to say, why do I want it? So if the thing that we want is our high school diploma, well, why do I want that diploma so bad? Well, maybe there's a specific opportunity and job that you want that high school diploma will now qualify you for. Okay. In column B, you'll list who else will benefit. So who else will benefit by you getting your high school diploma? Maybe by you getting that diploma, your children will benefit, maybe your spouse, your household in general, because maybe now you're going to be making more of a better income for your whole household. And in column C, you would list, how long has this hindered me? So remember, on the back side was what was stopping you. On this side, you're going to ask, how long has it been hindering you? So if your hindrance was maybe the financial cost, on this side, how long has that financial burden been a hindrance for you going back to school? So if you guys notice, everywhere I have an A on one side, there's an A on the other side. So everything kind of lines up and coincides. This plan of action is meant to help you take those elements that are on your vision board and apply a strategic plan as to how you will accomplish them. Because remember, we not only need desire, we need to make a decision. This will help us sort through our decisions, but also it will hopefully help us line up our discipline, because we are now figuring out what I need to do to make it happen, what's going to hinder me, and how do I even overcome those obstacles and hindrances. Okay. Now, I also mentioned in my first video about a journal, and I mentioned that journals are not the same thing when we're talking about vision boards, but I do encourage you to have a journal. I have a journal, and I call mine actually like a think book, all right? And I keep it with me constantly. It's with me wherever I go. And the purpose of my journal is to keep me accountable, all right? So when I do my action plan, I could actually put my plan of action in my journal. It doesn't have to be this large sheet of paper. I was just using that really so you guys can see where I was going and what I listed. But I could actually have those elements drawn or written in my journal. And also what I use my think book for is when I get ideas of things, right? Maybe I have a conversation with someone and they'll say something and they'll say, oh, you need to check out this website, or maybe you need to go to this resource. I will stop and say, hold on one second. I need to write that in my think book, and I'll grab my think book and I'll literally jot it down so that later on I can go back and maybe do some research and go back and figure out how to track and monitor my progress towards the goals that I'm trying to accomplish. You guys, nothing happens by magic. Vision boards are not magic. They are really you lining up your faith and your actions to manifest something wonderful. But you got to make it happen. So these are the reasons why your vision board may not be working if you don't have a really good plan of action. You guys, keep it up, the good work. Smart Kydd Concepts, here to help you guys get better in every area of your life. If you guys have any suggestions of any topics you'd like me to cover, please do share it. But I really do want you guys to share this video along with any others that we have that I'm posting with you guys, because I want you guys to definitely get better in every area of your life. This is Chandra Kydd again with Smart Kydd Concepts. Love you guys. See you next time.